Letterman, features editor with the Springfield Business Journal, and I'm here today talking with Mr. Larry Rosenbaum. He's owner of Rosenbaum's Jewelry here in downtown Springfield. So you were saying that you retired in 1978 and then started this business?
Yes. I just opened a flea market and, of course I'd been in the jewelry business before, and I just opened a flea market and people would ask me, is this, like a man came in this morning and said, is that a real diamond and things like that, and I would, it just mushroomed.
When were you in jewelry before?
Gosh, honey. When with Sidney Garfinkel, when I was 16 years old, took me under his wing and taught me how to sell ladies' shoes. So I moved to St. Louis and got a job at Famous Bar in the ladies' shoe salon. Okay. Well, Dr. Bernard Garfinkel was on the board of directors at Barnes Hospital, and he kind of took us under his wing. My mother, I, and my brother. And he had a neighbor. Do you remember Biederman's Furniture Company?
I do not.
Doesn't matter. It was here on Walnut, over there. And he had a neighbor that had a leased apartment in all of the Biederman stores in the state. And he says, I just can't find salesmen. He says, I have a salesman for you. And so he had a leased jewelry department, but he said to me, okay. He said, but the deal is, he says, you can't stay in St. Louis. You have to go to, I'm hiring you to go to Springfield, Missouri. I said, great. I was raised in Poplar Bluff. I'd rather be in a small town.
Right.
And rather raise my brother in a small town.
It's a lousy job.
And so anyway, that's how, so I managed Biederman. I learned the jewelry business overnight, and then that's how I came to Springfield.
Okay.
And I worked there for 2 years. Then I managed the Busy Bee stores.
Okay.
Okay, for a couple of years. And then I went to work for Zales. 1978, I retired. I had made enough money to where I thought, this is enough money for me. And so I was fidgety, and Sid says, you got to get out of here, you get. So I opened a booth in a flea market. And then 2 years later, I rented the little alcove right here.
Okay.
From the Fox Theater.
Uh-huh.
And I met my friend Bob Francis. And Bob, he was opening a pawn shop. And so he had 2 pawn shops. And so I put a jewelry store in one of his and another one there. And I wasn't making any money, so I left him after about a year or so. And I had opened another. And this building, when I was next door, this building was the diamond shop, owned by Al Rogers. Now, I'd worked with Al Rogers at Zales, and he was renting it for $400 a month. And when he left, I wanted to buy it, and there was a lady in Canada that owned it, and I said, what do you want for it? $250,000. Well, if you rent something for $400 a month, it's not worth $250,000.
Right.
So I didn't buy it. But 2 years later, I found out that it was for sale. He had died, and I bought it then in 1978. That's when I bought the building, but for a hell of a lot less than $250,000 because the square was closed at that time.
Oh, okay.
And all this property was cheap. So that's when I bought it. And that's when I started running.
And that's when
the
you
shop.
opened the shop?
Yeah, and my shop is, everybody downtown, every retail business downtown has went broke.
Yeah.
You can see that. The Barth's was here, it went broke. The Diamond the Shirks went broke. They all went broke. If you go outside, in my case, there are the first three cases on my right. Every ring is at least 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so I have a lot of estate, estate and antique pieces, and I don't compete with Zales or with any of those places because the stuff I have is totally
unique.
different.
Yeah.